Andre Tourigny's seat heat level increases as the Mammoth continue to slump after a disappointing road trip.
You are Locked On Mammoth, your daily podcast on the Utah Mammoth, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Locked On Mammoth. I'm veteran NHL voice Tom Callahan, joined by longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño, and this is now something pretty cool. Not only are we part of the Locked On Podcast Network, it is now the #1 sports podcast network. So, Robyn, little shout out to the entire network by actually quite a few different measurable metrics, has become the #1 sports podcast network. So that's a very cool thing. We did want to share that with you, and you'll be hear us using that in our branding here coming up. But Robyn, okay, that's the positive stuff. Now on to talking about the Utah Mammoth. Oh, mercy. I thought 2-2 was reasonable on this road trip. You went optimistic at 2-1-1. They have now finished at 1-3. After losing to both Montreal and Ottawa on the second half of a back-to-back. And we're gonna get to part of the Ottawa game here. I want to talk about a goal that was called back that probably shouldn't have been. But the most important thing to me, I think, right now has got to be, look, we examined last week. Was this team a hot start and that's all it was? Or were they just in a little bit of a cold spell and they'll get back to the team they were in the hot start? Robyn, I am declaring right now, Andre Tourigny's seat heat is rising. It is increasing. Everybody know, the everydayers know how I feel about Andre Tourigny as the head coach. But this has got to start to turn up the heat now, doesn't it? It does for me. I mean, it has for me. It has been.
I mean, yes. Because here's the thing, Tom. When you look at it's something that you've talked about, right? We've talked about managing your peaks and valleys, right? When we're seeing, the valleys be as worse, as bad as the peaks are good, like, and as long, like, okay, it's not like. What is the issue? Is it a personnel issue? Well, I don't think so, because that top 6 alone, even in the top 9, I'll even give the top 9, because I feel like the Carconi, McBain line, that can do some damage. Krause, that can do some damage, right? The top 9, I feel like is a good top 9 among a lot of NHL teams. Okay, so it's not a personnel issue. Then what is it? Is it a coaching issue? Something we have to that is in the question right there. You have to ask, is this a coaching issue at this point?
And I mean, I've said that I think it is, and I've said that for a little while now, and I've pointed to different parts of the game, the 5-on-5 and the special teams, the defensive lapses, even the breakouts and the zone entries, the power play setup, let alone once they get in, if they get set up, the puck movement's great, but they're still not generating a whole lot on that. There's a million things I could get into right now. But Robyn, here's the thing. I was listening to the pre-game interview that they sent out from Ottawa today. And Andre Tourigny shows up. He's in a good mood. It's snowing a little bit. So, okay, which is fine. Whistle while you work. I get it. And I don't have a problem with that. But he followed that by saying, I thought we played 50 good minutes against the Montreal Canadiens. And I'm like, I'm not watching the same game. He and I are not watching the same hockey team. I didn't see 50 good minutes. And so, Robyn, that concerns me, that if he really thinks they played 50 good minutes and then just lost it because of 10 bad minutes at the end of the third period, I don't agree. And that is starting to call into question for me, how is he assessing this team? How is he looking at the game plan? Is he being honest with himself about what he sees X's and O's? Is he really, honestly, is he raking himself over the coals going, you know what, this is on me. Maybe I can change something. Maybe I can improve something. juggling the top 2 line centers does not count as making substantial changes. This is not going to get it done. The game plan is flawed. They're not very good defensively. They had gotten scoring early, but now that that's dried up, what are you doing to get it going again? And I don't see anything.
You're right. And here's the thing, something that we've talked about before, right? We've talked about how this team needs to play their game, how they not need to get rattled. They can't allow other teams to kind of force them outside of their game and do whatever they need to do to have that physical edge. But what's interesting is like something's happening where that confidence is shaken or whatever it is. They're not there, right? And really, yeah, I mean, you can chalk it up to players on the okay, you can do a players meeting or whatever, but at the same time, like a head coach, your job is to look at that, kind of see where those where those inconsistencies are, where those blank spots are, and you're like, okay, let's fix that. Let's get together in a room, let's fix that.
And look at the goals they scored tonight. They were really nice individual efforts.
Yeah.
But without 2 really nice individual efforts from Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz, they don't score. Now, again, the third period goal, it was funny because I sent you a text. I said, well, I saw them score the goal and I saw the replay of it, and then I walked away, right? And I come back from the kitchen and I come back out and the goal's not on the board. And I had to text you, what happened? And so, apparently incidental contact. I don't know how. I don't know. Well, I don't know where. I thought that was awful because I just looked. I mean, I even watched replay and went, oh man, what a great play. He scored from the seat of his pants right in front. I'm like, that's cool. That's a cool goal. Like that's
terrible
an awesome
call.
That
call was that call was pretty bad because like even if there was contact, Tom, the goaltender still had enough time to reset and make a play.
Yes. The question of what the hell is goaltender interference and nobody knows. And I'm a goaltender and I don't know what goaltender interference is. Although I can tell you if I get brushed, I'm going to go down like I was shot. Like that's just how it works now if you're trying to get the call. But you're right. So the way it reads is the goaltender, if they are bumped by an opposing player, if they have time to reset and make an attempt at a save, then there should be no goaltender interference. I don't know how. Was that McBain? McBain sitting on the seat of his pants on the ice in front of him was keeping him from making a save. And he wasn't. He was not touching him for several seconds and scored with his back to the net on his butt. That I don't know how the goal doesn't count. Ridiculous. So anyway, that one should have counted. But Robyn, again, now we're talking about bottom 6 scoring. They would have put that goal in. And they were the most reliable, I thought, units out there. And don't get me wrong, like I love Yamamoto. I would have loved to have seen, a little bit different equation here, maybe try to be a little more physical. That's the other thing. Robyn, what's this team's identity? I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to, while I'm here beating on everything else, what's this team's identity?
It's funny because during that 7-game win streak, like I was like, okay, they might have found it. They're playing with that physical edge. They're forcing, like what they're doing is they're forcing to the outside, and it's a good thing. We're finally seeing this. We're seeing it throughout that entire win streak, and all of a sudden, that collapsed. And now I'm wondering, are they still trying to find something else or what? Because it seems to be different.
I do appreciate our everydayers who watch the shorts and the post-game shorts when, you or I are putting them up and they comment and they watch them and like, you know what? You guys we're starting to see your points. And I mean, that makes me feel good, but I also feel bad because the points you're making are negative. And I hate that you are starting to see them, but you're understanding.
Like, and That does seem to be a criticism from a lot of people that, we tend to be a little more negative. Because here's the thing, Tom, because we have such high expectations for this team. Like, our expectations are here, and they're right here right now. And that's what's frustrating. And that's why we're just like, we know you guys are better. We know this team is a good hockey team.
Yes, this is a really good hockey team. And if I'm a fan of and again, I'm not a fan. I'm a journalist covering the team. But if I'm a fan of the Mammoth, I could give you 10 reasons off the top of my head why you should be super excited about watching this team and even buying tickets to a game.
Yes.
They're exciting. They're young. They're dynamic. They're physical. Like there's a lot to like. There's just a bunch of talent, but I just feel like it's being squandered, Robin. And now it's starting to get to me a little bit. When they were in Arizona, absolutely. I mean, they were mired in a horrible situation, but now the honeymoon's over. They went through their first year. Now they're the Mammoth. They got through the Utah Hockey Club year. This is the year they're supposed to make the playoffs. This does not look like a playoff team. This looks like a same old 2, 3, 4, 5 years on repeat. And there is one constant in that. And that's the coach. All right. Today's show is brought to you. I need to take a deep breath. I am so fired up after that first segment. Today's show is brought to you by Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? It's easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites, and Indeed's sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page to help you reach the right candidates faster. I've been in that spot. Especially in sports, turnover is constant, and you need to hire the right person. You needed them yesterday, right? The pressure's on. Every day without the right person is a setback, especially when you're in season. And that's exactly why Indeed sponsored jobs come in handy. They make sure your post is seen by the right candidates right now. Now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon. Right now, notice that has changed. Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying, hey, you heard about Indeed on our podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño, Locked On Mammoth. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every single day when it comes to the Utah Mammoth hockey team. We appreciate you being here with us. As the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 rated podcast network. We're very excited about that. Thank you to you, by the way, all you guys, the subscribers, the non-subscribers. If you're still not a subscriber and you're still listening to the show, please subscribe. Doesn't cost you a penny, and just go ahead and click subscribe. However, we do have our Everydayer Club coming up, our brand new Everydayer Club. And as soon as we have a lockdown on what I believe is a December 8th launch date, once that is firm, we're going to share all the details with you about it and tell you exactly what that entails for you, all the perks, all the benefits, the exclusives, all that cool stuff. Talking about Andre Tourigny's seat heat level rising, as I think it definitely should as this slide continues. Mm-hmm. Robin, it's almost hard to remember this team won 7 in a row.
Yep.
And honestly, so this is 8 of 9 away from home. This is a difficult stretch, and we said that going into it. Mm-hmm. And remember on the front half of this, the first 4-game road swing, they kind of surprised us, didn't they? They did better than we thought.
Yeah, they did. Like, they were going up against some hard teams, like Central Division teams who all were in the playoffs last year, right? And not only that, but good Central Division teams.
Yeah, they really, I thought, looked pretty impressive out there. But now, as you guys are catching this on a Monday morning here, they're barely hanging on to a wild card spot. Are the Mammoth. They've been passed by the Blackhawks and the Stars. So that doesn't look good. It is really a rough spot right now for this Mammoth hockey team. Not only that, but Robin, here's the other crazy thing. Minnesota has started to pick it up a little bit here. And then Nashville and St. Louis are still down towards the bottom.
If wild card spots, you got to look at the Pacific Division too, where you have some teams that are surprisingly also doing well. And I'm like,
how about those Sharks? I don't know
how they're doing this good.
Oh my, and I was telling you before we jumped on here, I actually sat and watched the third period of Winnipeg San Jose, and I loved it. I loved watching the Sharks. That game was entertaining. It was fun. Just from a pure hockey perspective, I loved it.
it's so weird too, because we all saw the game against, the Mammoth versus Sharks game, right? That was a 6-3 win for the Mammoth. And I thought, okay, the Sharks will be a bad team again. The Mammoth are going to be a good team. That's expected. And then all of a sudden it feels like things are flipped at this point.
Yeah.
That's a surprise on its own. But yeah, I mean, it's, to the conversation, yeah, now they're skidding and teams are catching up. And you're looking at that constant, you're talking about, okay, taking a look at the coach. And it's interesting, Tom, because I was taking a look at some of the comments through your post-game shorts the last couple of games. And it seems to be that there are some people out there, some of our viewers, some of our listeners who agree with the sentiment that I brought up a while ago, where I said I firmly believe that Andre Tourigny is a good coach, but he is a good rebuilding coach. He is good to help start a rebuild, especially of a young team, because he actually connects with the young players. But once you get to a point where this team is actually able to compete, I feel like there's a little bit of extra pressure. I feel like there's something else that just doesn't translate as well, and he's not that guy. Again, he was the guy at first, but I do not believe he will be the guy down the road. And that's just my belief. And I feel like other people are catching on to that belief.
You guys know I'm a huge Bills fan. That's how I feel about Sean McDermott. I feel like McDermott is the guy who's going to get you 10 to 12 wins and a first or second round exit. And if that's good enough for you, fine, he's your coach. But so that it's kind of the same thing. Andre Tourigny is the guy who got you through a tough spot and a difficult rebuild in a horrible political climate, and said a lot of the right things, did a lot of the right things. And you know what? Andre Tourigny, the person, is a guy I would probably love to have beers with. However,
yeah, absolutely.
The production is not there. They've lost 5 of 6 now, and they barely got that game to overtime against Buffalo, and they were able to win it there. Now, I thought that was a really nice goal in the OT and all that, but Robyn, what's going on? And here's the crazy thing. Outside of the Dursey injury, they're relatively healthy. This isn't last year where guys are dropping like flies.
You're right.
Although I was a little concerned about Simashev.
Yeah, he looked like he looked like he tweaked something a little bit towards the end there.
Yeah, he kind of fell over awkwardly and then backwards on his knee and or ankle, and I'm like, oh, that does not look fun. So I hope he's okay. Fingers crossed long term.
But no, it's interesting. And by the way, another thing I want to address to the comments, because again, I read them. Someone said that they believe one of the coaches that to look at to make the next step is Peter DeBoer, and I am going to tell you right now, no. No.
Do you hate your goalies that much? Do you hate your goalies that much? You think they're struggling now? Wait till you bring in DeBoer. You might as well just light their gear on fire in the middle of the locker room. That guy destroys goaltenders.
Look, is he?
No.
Does he have some kind of upside among other aspects outside of that? Sure, but I do not want to deal with that. I do not want to deal with that at all. And here's the thing: he's he's won maybe one Stanley Cup, right? Or not even that. No, because I was going to say Vegas, but he got fired by Vegas the year before they won the Cup.
Well, yeah. Let's see here. Oh boy. Let me see. Now I got to look it up.
I believe that's what it was. He got fired by Vegas because they missed the playoffs.
No, I know he didn't win it with. So I'm looking up his NHL.
He didn't win it with New Jersey. He didn't win it with San Jose.
Nope, no cups. No cups. Yeah, no, he did get fired out of Vegas before they ended up going on to win it. Yeah, Jersey, Florida, obviously San Jose, and then Dallas. Nope, no cups. And again, no, not the guy.
That's just, yeah. It would just be like that. I mean, that's the answer. No.
Wait for Buffalo to fire Lindy Ruff,
or just wait for John Cooper to be ready.
Or yeah. But that's a problem that kills this year. Cooper's not coming this year.
Yeah.
So, but there are probably a bunch of American Hockey League coaches, junior hockey coaches, college coaches who you could absolutely look to. And of course, the trend is always, it varies. You know, one year the minors are hot, the next year it's junior hockey, then it's college. Like, guys are all over. But
I mean, you tend to see a lot of the recycling of the same coaches throughout. But
and here's the thing, Robyn, you know what? This is a great point for us to make. Robyn, what difference does a coaching change make when a roster is basically the same with a little bit of tweaking from year to year? Tom, give me one pertinent example. Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah.
Look at the difference in the Ducks this year.
They're in first place or in the Pacific Division right now.
I mean, say what you want about Joel Quenneville, and believe me, I have a lot of thoughts on.
Oh yeah, matter. No, I mean, the reason why I was saying avoid him is because of just the
a lot of baggage.
Yeah, so much baggage around that. But all in all, he's a good hockey coach.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are a lot of people who are really good at their job who are probably bad people in real life. And I don't even know if Joel Quenneville's a bad person or not. Like, anytime I ever dealt with him when I was in Nashville, he was always very nice and very forthcoming. But look, and if you're not up to speed on what we're talking about, go ahead and read into that whole scandal with the Blackhawks and everything, and why he had to leave the Blackhawks and all that fun. Or actually, he was in Florida by then, but why he had to leave the Panthers for all the fallout from stuff that happened in Chicago. You can read up on that. That is several episodes worth that we're not going to do. But the point is,
I'm sure Locked On Blackhawks has something in their catalog.
They probably do. And Locked On Panthers might too. But Robyn, the point is, if you get a different coach with a different message doing something different, you can turn a team around really, really quickly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially if they are able to kind of take a look at the players and personnel and be like, okay, this is the system that's going to work for us, and actually stick to the identity rather than something, I don't know.
Yeah. So now that this has all gone past, and it was a very disappointing road trip, and it could have easily been just a 1-point road trip. Fortunately, it was 2. They do beat Buffalo in OT. Robyn, we've got to look ahead. The stretch gets a little friendlier now, but they played 11 games on the road out of 16 so far. That's a difficult start. And like I said, 8 of the last 9. That's not easy, but it also doesn't let you off the hook, because guess what? Everybody plays 41 at home and 41 on the road. And now this team has to turn things around coming home. And guess who they're teeing it off with? When they come back home, that's right, the Buffalo Sabres. So Robyn and I are going to look ahead, and we're going to see if we can figure out a way that this team is going to be able to pull it out of the fire.
And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score over the next fourth quarter comebacks. So, plus you can even combine some live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. I know a lot of you are Jazz fans who are listening to this episode. Maybe you want to go ahead and just double down on Jazz games, or maybe, you know what, you don't like how Jazz season is going so far, so you just want to bet on other things just to kind of just keep your engagement into some basketball. And you know what? That's totally okay, because FanDuel just keeps the game and just every game exciting, especially when it is your team making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head over to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño, Locked On Mammoth. Hey, tell your friends if you like the show. Again, we are not the homers. That is not what you're coming here for, but we are the fact and opinion based podcast. And you know what? We enjoy doing it. Robyn, I'm going to open.
Look, Tom, we've been we've been around the organization for a long time. Like, well, even the pre-Utah era, yes. The Arizona era, we've been around for long enough. We we've seen these players grow. We've seen everything, and I feel like no one else is able to give that level of insight because we've been here for such a long time.
And here's the other thing too for me is, and without making you feel too young or me feel too old, when I was in Nashville, we had a budding rivalry with the Arizona Coyotes because that was the year Arizona bounced Nashville out when Nashville had a really promising team.
Yeah.
And so even from then, I'd been paying attention to that Coyotes team. So we're talking all the way back to 2012, 2011, 2010, maybe.
Yeah.
So look, it's been 15 years that this team has either been on my radar because it had to be, I worked for the opposition, or then in 2015, I went to work for the organization. So
I think that's the year, like, I like to use as a good starting point because I feel like that started this era because that's when, Keller started coming, and then Schmaltz came a little bit later, and then Krause came in, and then the team what we're seeing now is kind of like was based off of the 2015-16 season, and then grew from there.
I remember Baby Lawson Krause.
When he was on that first line in Tucson of other first round picks of Merkley and Strome. That was a year.
By the way, Lawson Krause was never little. He was always a big dude.
Yeah,
he was never little. He's a big man. All right, Robyn, I wanted to start this segment with this quote that just came across my timeline on socials, and it is a snippet from Andre Tourigny's postgame after the Ottawa game. When asked about adversity, he said, well, and the losing streak, he said, it's adversity, and we need to keep our composure and keep pushing through. We need to just find a way to be mentally strong and find a way to push the cart across the finish line. Robyn, what does that mean?
I have no idea. Like, I'm trying.
Anybody listening or watching, what does that mean? I'm serious. Comment. Tell me. If you know what that means, you tell me.
And it's interesting. Like, I don't know if it's just if it's me or not, but like, I want to see someone with some extra energy in there. Like when you lose a game, when you're on a losing streak like that, I want to see that you're pissed off. I want to see that. Like, and I'm going to use, example, from the team that we talked about that's gotten hot lately in San Jose, right? Did you hear the interview after, like, I think San Jose, like, they lost like their 5th straight game and to start the season, right? They were looking really bad. And all of a sudden in the interview, Ryan Wasowski pretty much said just like, I'm going to like I would give up my kid.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah. And I'm like oh my
Ryan,
God, he is and fired up. And I'm like, you know what? But you can either be upset by that comment, which I know a lot of people were, or you can look at it as like, this guy really wants to win and he's upset right now because you can see. And again, like, I want to see that level of energy of Tourigny or wherever is, behind the bench.
Yep. And I mean, I get there's value to having an even keel, right? You don't get too high, you don't get too low. Barry Trotz was a master of that. He tried to never get too upset. But
I don't know, because like, I think
sometimes you gotta empty the stick rack. Sometimes you gotta throw the water bottles.
So I think of some of the teams that had good, good hockey teams, even the AHL level. Like, how many times am I going to bring up Mike Van Ryn from this, season 2 of the Tucson Roadrunners? He let his emotions fly, and sometimes we wouldn't even see him in the press conference because he without flipping a table or something. But even then, like, whoever else was a reporter alongside myself, like, we would honestly egg him on because we knew the questions they would ask that would light a fire under his ass. And it was like, we enjoyed seeing that, but the other point of that was also a good hockey team, and I feel like he pushed them because of that level of emotion. You need that.
Yeah, no, you do, and you know what? That, I think, there's got to be fire in there at some point that just I don't know. It's you know what, Robyn? It's been a tough stretch. Here, watch me try to put a positive spin on this because I told people we're going to try to do that
We
this
want to
segment,
try
right?
to.
Let's try to figure out how to pull this out. Okay, so
Okay.
what we're going to do is we're going to give the whole team a little bit of grace. They have 2 days off, right? They're going to sleep in their own beds tonight. They're on their way home from Ottawa right now as we're taping this on a Sunday night. So probably day off Monday, practice Tuesday, home Wednesday, Friday, Buffalo, New York. Okay, Buffalo and New York, the Islanders coming to town, not in Buffalo, New York again. But then 2 on the road, Ducks Sharks, which all of a sudden, holy cow, that looks like a difficult stretch.
Ducks Sharks Golden Knights.
Yeah, and the Rangers who are coming here. Which, by the way, it's probably a good thing for the Rangers that they're getting out on the road because they're horrible at home. But Robyn, out of these next, let's see, what do we got here? 6 opponents. Under normal circumstances, I would say 5 of them should be wins. Vegas might be the tough one, but now, I mean, the Ducks and Sharks are difficult too, but if they come through that 6-game stretch 3-3, are you even happy with that? Because then they round out the month with Vegas again, Montreal again, whom they just lost to by playing 50 out of 60 good minutes. And then they have Dallas, St. Louis at the end of the month. So really, are there any pushovers in there? The teams that are playing poorly right now are Buffalo, St. Louis, and the Rangers. That's it. There's 3 teams playing poorly in there, and there's 10 games. This is a recipe for disaster. And actually, I said I was going to try to make it sound good, but now I'm freaking out a little bit. By the end of November, this team could be so far out of the playoffs unless something changes that it could really affect the whole rest of the season.
And yeah, you're right. And here's the thing. Like, through this stretch, Utah needs to find out a way to be not at, but above 500. So they need to go through the stretch above 500. Like, and again, I mean, it's that's simple logic, right? You like, if you're going to be a playoff team, no matter what part of the season you're in, whether it's early in the season or late in the season, you need to go through stretches above 500 to be able to get those playoff points.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's going to be a tough stretch. I mean, Buffalo, I mean, you went to overtime against them on the road. I don't want to see that at home.
What scares me, Robyn, what bothers me, what annoys me, what I find a pest is the fact that the more I see them play, the more I'm starting to think that win streak was an anomaly. And that's not what I wanted to believe. I wanted to believe that was the new.
Did they finally turn the tide?
Yeah, that or the improved, because I don't think something could be built to improve
from everything. Because
that they took a step.
Because you and I have talked about everything they need to learn from all the the young mistakes, all the simplified, all the fundamentals that we feel like need to be addressed. That they fixed it. They were like, oh, look at that. They actually understood what they needed to do. We talked about the physical edge. We talked about playing of a forecheck, adding that extra chip, but they didn't do that through this last stretch. And you're wondering, okay, did they really learn that, or was that just an anomaly? And you're right. You're starting to question that. They need to go out in this next stretch. Yes, it's not going to be an easy stretch, but they need to go out in this next stretch and prove that the losing streak was the anomaly. This losing part was the anomaly, and that 7-game win streak was actually what they were.
You know what I want to talk about on tomorrow's show? I want to talk about who are the break glass in case of emergency recall players. Who are you calling up to fix this? Because before the coach gets fired, he's going to make lineup changes. So we'll talk about that tomorrow because there's not enough time for that today.
A little teaser though. You see Daniel Boot got a freaking hat trick this weekend.
Well, there you go. There's your first one. So, all right. That's going to be our next one. Break glass in case of emergency. who are the player or players that come out of that case on the wall to try to put out the fire. All right. Robyn, I'm sure people are going to have a ton of comments on
Oh
this
yeah,
one.
no, we'll probably get a lot of hate. We'll get some people who agree with us, of course, but we'll probably get a lot of hate for being so negative today. But you know what? We need.
I don't
to
think
air
we
it
were
out.
negative, though. We're not negative. We're just talking about what's going on. We're not over here being mean.
I'm saying in their perspective, right? They're viewing us as being negative, but we're just being critical. We're just trying to, again, as the way I said it, we have expectations and they're not meeting them. Our expectations are very high.
Yes, that is correct. All right, Robyn.
Again, it's a good hockey team. It's a playoff hockey team.
Hey, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Something's got to change. Something's got to change. You got to do something. So, all right, we will talk about that on tomorrow's show. Robyn, where can people find us on social media?
They can find us everywhere on social media. You can primarily active over on X/Twitter at Locked On Mammoth. That's at Locked On Mammoth. You can find me personally at Robyn_Leaño. That is Robyn with a Y_LEANO. I'm pretty active on either both of those accounts. If you want to message me, I usually respond within the day, within the business day, maybe 2 business days at the most.
Robyn's people will get back to you. Robyn has people. So I just have me, and I'm reactive or inactive on social media. Blue Sky at Tom Talks, Twitter at Callahan on air. All right, deep breath, everybody. Deep breath. We're gonna relax.
Yeah, you need to do some yoga.
Yeah, we'll let it all out. We'll just exhale. All right, and we're gonna get back at it again tomorrow. So